Hello. Very good evening to you all. Welcome to the Sunday live stream. On my left eye, I'm your host Lefty. Solidarity this Socialist Sunday, everybody. How are we all doing? Divinia decisively early in the chats. That's the kind of enthusiasm we like to see. Hope we're all well. Aaron's with us as well. Edward Sexby, Specs Bean Farmer. Jamie, great to see you. Guitar Guy, thanks for lurking while you're finishing off your paperwork. Hope that's all going well. Hype them. Great to see you. Idiosyncrasy. Doc Davies, we have Doc in the house. Nice to see your lively chats. As we kick things off, please make sure you've hit thumbs up as you join us on the stream, please, people. We'll get started in just a few moments. Just setting up a few things here. Hope you can all hear me okay. I've just got bit of buffering again in the YouTube studio. Hopefully coming through loud and clear though. Let us know. Looks to be okay now though. Yeah, thanks for the feedback there. Bit of buffering on the studio. Apologies, that's kind of out of our hands. It is what it is where buffering's concerned. Just a brief moment though. No poll this evening. Right, now the buffering's levelled off, I'll give a shout out to the members on the channel, of course. Thank you very much for all your contributions, for renewing your own memberships, gifting to others. We're at 170 now, towards 250. So thank you very much, everybody. The marvellous members. You can join this roster of awesome supporters for just 99 pence. Hit the join button to find out more about the perks. Super chats are also open if you're watching live. Super stickers as well. super thanks if you're watching back later on. If you don't have the means to support the channel via YouTube, you can check out our Buy Me a Coffee page. There's a link for that in the description of this stream. And just like that, another 5 memberships gifted by Davinia. Thank you very much, Davinia. Excellent. Let's please give Davinia a big shout out in the chat, please, everyone. So that takes up to 175 now. We are getting there, people. Thanks again, Davinia. And thanks to everybody on the list there. That's not the... there we go. Ah, that's why. That's better. Had 2 chat windows in my software for some reason.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Shout out to Harvey Ranger and the Supersonics, the Sunday live stream background jazz quartet. Let's hear that one again, please, fellas. Giving us some soothing, chilled out background music for Sundays. Okay, get into the Fondue Lounge in a moment. Let's get Crash Keith and Co once again.
Oh God.
And then I'll go through what's coming up on the stream. Everybody good with that? Excellent. You gifted yourself a membership, Davinia. Nice, nice shot. Well done there. I've got the circle up again. Anybody else got the circle? Hope you can hear. Can you hear me? Information superhighway, are you receiving? Hope so. Once again, sorry to anybody experiencing a bit of buffering there. Believe me, if there was something we could do about that, we would. Idiosyncrasy and Davinia experiencing buffering as well. But thanks for the feedback. I think it's levelled off now. Edward, do you think the spitting image puppet of Keith's a carbon copy of John Major? I'm assuming you mean the original series, not the recent one. The rest is bullshit. Which is now only available on the website. Boo, boo. For Paddington the Bear, of all things. Not actually, you know, a politician or a member of royalty or whatever who they take the piss out of thoroughly. And very well. But no. It was the bloody bear. But yeah, John Major, I think, would have been in the original series, wouldn't he? Did he have grey skin? Is that right? I think I can remember seeing some clips or snippets or something. Even with the buffering, it's still better than Twitch. Good point there, Jamie. Another reason to stick with us here on the Sunday live stream. We try and, you know, squeeze as much comedy value out of any technical difficulties that we might have on the channel as well. I've seen other streamers and, well, a while ago, including gaming streamers, I think, but they just tend to lose their shit. Peas, Davinia. I was going to ask, was there some, for some reason, I remembered something to do with peas in the John Major sketch. I was trying to remember. Of course, John Major, leader of the Tories after Thatcher, supplanted by Tony Blair in '97. Right. Let's get into the lounge, people. Enjoy yourselves. It's Socialist Sunday, you can have a bit of a dance if you want. So the old jingle, here we are once again in the Fondue Lounge. What's coming up on the stream? Well, someone in this frame will be featuring, because of more Epstein file revelations. We'll be going into that, as well as Mandy's further revelations. We'll see how things are going for Keith in the Gorton and Denton by-election, of course. A current hot seat here on my left eye. And the Green Party have announced their candidates, local resident Hannah Spencer. She's been putting out some excellent videos already. She certainly looks like a winner to me. She's already been sticking it to her opponents. We'll be taking a bit of a look at that. The leader of the party, Zach Polanski, made an appearance on the Laura Kussenberg show again. So I'll be taking a look at that one. It'll be more or less a first time watch for me, apart from a couple of minute-long clips that I've seen going around social media. Pretty much the first time viewing. So all the latest from the hot seat in Gorton and Denton. We'll be going over to the States with the latest episode of A Song of I.C.E. and Fire. Checking out some of the latest ice-capades and the latest heinous activities of the fash. As well, with news from America, Luigi Mangione has had several of the charges against him dropped. We'll be seeing what's happening with that one. A few comedy clips as well along the way. I've got quite a lengthy comedy clip to kick off, but it's definitely worth it. It's a really good one. So quite a packed stream. And we'll see what else comes up. Yeah, that is week. It's thinking about it. It's still thinking about it. It's still thinking about it. Is it there? Are we back? Well, I've got 720 here. Hope everybody else has got at least 720. Maybe 480. Any advance on 480? Going once, going twice. I think we're back. Right, on that note, I think we are back, so we'll just promptly leave the lounge and get on with the first comedy clip. Sorry to leave you stuck looking at Keith's stupid face for a few moments there. They can't crash my bloody party again. Peter! Peter! Do something! Hype them sometimes 420. Oh, I see what you're doing there. Ah, very good. Haha, haha. Sometimes 420. I was talking about the resolution, but not the resolution. You're thinking of something else, I think. Back for now, so let's get in with the first comedy clip. You'll find a link for this in the description of the stream. It's a really good one from Michael Spice for another longer one on Trump. One of his classic bits, The Room Next Door. I'm sure you've seen some of these in the past. This is his latest one. So follow the link in the description. Go and subscribe to his page. Great YouTuber, great comedian. Mr. Michael Spicer.
Instead of raising taxes on domestic producers, we're lowering them. In 12 months, we have removed over 270,000 bureaucrats from the federal payrolls.
You haven't said nobody thought for a while, Mr. President. Why don't you try one now?
Nobody thought that was coming.
Steel plants.
We have steel plants being built all over the country.
Nobody thought we'd see that.
Nobody thought they'd see that.
Right, move on to Venezuela.
20 years ago, it was a great country, and now it's
Got problems?
got problems, but we're
But we're helping them restore democracy.
helping them.
Restore democracy.
Those 50 million barrels.
What?
Venezuela's going to do fantastically well. We appreciate all of the cooperation we've been giving.
We appreciate all the cooperation we've been giving. No, that doesn't make any
The
sense.
attack ended, and they said, let's make a deal. More people should do that.
No, they shouldn't. Just talk about democracy, the peaceful transition of power.
Every major oil company is coming in with us.
Stop talking about oil. You're making it too obvious. Talk about their new leader.
The leadership of the country has been
Very good, very smart.
very good. They've been very, very smart.
In fact, I spoke to the acting president this morning, and she
The
said...
price of gasoline is now below $2.50
Oh, no, he's talking about gasoline prices. We'll be here for hours.
a gallon in many states.
All right, move on, Mr. President.
$2.30 a gallon in most states.
Move on.
Then we'll soon be averaging less than $2 a gallon.
Oh, my God.
In many places, it's already down even lower.
What am I going to do?
Actually, since my last administration, we got it down to around those numbers.
Yeah, what is it this time? He's talking about gasoline prices and he won't stop. Have you tried numbers nobody's heard? That always nudges him in a different direction. I've already done 2 nobodies. We'll do another one. No one cares. He's just a laundry bag of fascist farts at the moment. No one's even listening.
95 cents a gallon. Numerous states are
Numbers nobody's heard.
99 cents. Numbers that nobody has heard for years.
Great. Move on to Europe. We love Europe.
The United States cares greatly about the people of Europe. We really do.
National security.
These are matters of national security, and perhaps no current issue makes the
Situation.
situation more clear than what's currently going on with...
Don't say Greenland. Don't say Greenland. No, say something else. The price increases at Disneyland Paris.
Greenland.
Oh, biscuits.
I was going to leave it out of the speech, but I thought...
You thought what? You thought you'd screw the new advisor, didn't you? That's what you thought, wasn't it? You... Burbling old nappy. Oh, please help. He's talking about Greenland. I've got nothing on Greenland. I keep...
Back, I think. Yeah. I've just paused it so no one misses out.
I was going to leave
We'll
it
go
out
from
of
here
the
anyway.
speech, but I thought...
You thought what? You thought you'd screw the new advisor, didn't you? That's what you thought, wasn't it? You... Burbling old nappy. Oh,
Yeah,
please
Trump's
help me.
buffering
He's
as well,
talking
idiot.
about Greenland. I've got nothing on Greenland. I keep telling you, I'm retired. Oh, please, he knows nothing. He can't even find Greenland on a map. He can't even find a map on a map. All right, what's he saying now?
We saw this in World War II.
World War II. Oh, no. Is that bad? Well, given that his brain is essentially a toxic Big Mac at this point, I'm not expecting him to be a world authority on the subject.
When Denmark fell to Germany,
All right, that's okay.
we literally set up bases on Greenland for Denmark.
That's okay too. Maybe this is going to be all right.
Big, beautiful piece of ice. It's hard to call it land. It's a big piece of ice.
Oh, okay.
And then after the war, which we won it big.
Oh, God.
Without us, right now you'd all be speaking German and a little Japanese, perhaps.
Ooh, now he's lost the room. Oh, my God, I've got to stop him. What shall I do? Tell him that he's talking to a room full of European leaders and that they do all speak German. And then tell him that if he wants to intimidate NATO, his knowledge of Europe is going to have to stretch further than that one time he watched Inglourious Bastards on Jeffrey Epstein's plane. I've got to get him onto something he really knows about. What does he really know about? The history of the Chicken McNugget. How to remove his name from documents about paedophiles. Anything else? No, that's it. Oh, Ukraine. Ukraine is a good example.
The war with Ukraine is an example.
Ukraine is a good example of what? I've no idea.
And I've now been working on this war for 1 year, during which time I settled 8 other wars.
Oh, shit muffins. Oh, good. Is that part of the speech where he says he settled 8 wars and then can't remember 6 of them? India, Pakistan.
India, Pakistan.
India said he had nothing to do with it, and 50 people have been killed since the ceasefire, but apart from that... Oh, shut up. I'm hanging up.
Vladimir Putin called me.
You talked about Armenia and Azerbaijan.
Armenia, Azerbaijan.
What? What? Azerbaijan? What's that? If Benny and Bjorn formed their own republic?
He said, I can't believe you settled that one. They were going on for 35 years.
And you settled it in 1 day?
I settled it in 1 day.
You're confusing 4 years of intense negotiations with that 1 day that they came to the White House to sign the treaty. That's not the same thing. It's like taking the credit for baking a cake when all you did was sign the cherry. I'm hanging up. By the way, Russia have condemned the United States' involvement in this conflict, so if I were you, I'd tell him to stop with all this I said to Vladimir and he said to me tittle-tattle wank. Let's leave Ukraine for a moment, Mr. President. Let's move on to NATO. Let's really go for NATO.
Until I came along, NATO was only supposed to pay 2% of GDP.
The United States was paying for virtually 65% of NATO.
The United States was paying for virtually 100% of NATO.
Well, no, I just said it was 60... What? It was 65%. I know! Why did he say 100%? He didn't say 100%. He said virtually 100%. 65% is virtually 100%. Oh, right. In the same way that the disgusting lies of a fascist dictator with a history of sexual abuse is virtually a speech by an American president.
We probably won't get anything unless I decide to use excessive strength and force.
What?
Where we would be, frankly, unstoppable.
But I won't do that.
I won't do that.
F***ing hell.
And all we're asking for is to get
Greenland
through
peaceful means.
Which is a large piece of ice in the middle of the ocean.
They know what Greenland is.
If there is a war, much of the action will take place on that piece of ice. Think of it.
Yes. Yeah, me again. Just to say that it's impossible to say where hypothetical wars will take place because they're hypothetical. Yes, thank you. And also, if the US does go to war with anyone, those missiles will be flying directly over the centre of that piece of ice. Nothing will be happening on Greenland. Well, I'm not going to make him say that because he'll be contradicting what he just said.
Those missiles would be flying right over the centre of that piece of ice.
Oh, never mind. He just said it.
Is this land on which we're going to build the greatest golden dome ever built?
You're doing what? We're building a golden dome.
We're building a golden dome.
What dome?
Going to build a dome.
What dome? Explain what the dome is, Mr. President.
And we wiped out the Iran nuclear threat like nobody can believe.
Explain what the dome is, sir.
We did a lot. A lot of big things.
You haven't explained what the dome is, Mr. President. You need to explain. Is he going to explain, or is he just going to bumble onto the next thing like a drunk falling into a bin? Yes, he will, Mr. President.
All perfectly executed. Everyone was perfectly executed. Somebody told me that, a military expert told me, sir, everything you've done has been perfectly executed. I said, I know.
Okay, bye. Don't call again.
From helping NATO, and I've until the last few days when I told them about Iceland, they loved me.
Greenland. It's Greenland you're talking about. Piss off.
But now what I'm asking for is
Don't say piece of ice again.
a piece of ice,
Oh, you shitting Nazi clown.
cold and poorly located.
You just said it was the perfect location. Look, can you just stop with the self-contradictory, half-assed Mussolini cosplay for a minute and let me help you?
I mean, our stock market took the first dip yesterday because of Iceland.
Greenland.
So Iceland's already cost us a lot of money.
Greenland. What?
He keeps saying
I
Iceland.
know!
This would be like Hitler telling his generals that he wants to annex Poundland.
If you don't have anything constructive to offer, why don't
Look,
you
just stop him talking about wanting a piece of ice, okay? It's just so embarrassing.
So we want a piece of ice for world protection.
He won't stop talking about it.
All right, just say Biden then.
What?
Just say Biden.
Biden what?
Nothing, just say Biden. It's like when you say walkies to a dog.
Biden.
Biden and his allies destroyed our economy
Oh, thank God.
and gave us perhaps the worst inflation in American history.
It's actually 48 years, Mr. President.
They say 48 years, I say forever, but I think 48 years is the equivalent to forever.
48 years is the equivalent to forever. A real sentence said by the President of the United States.
Sir, 48 years is not forever.
Whether it's 48 years or ever, it's terrible.
Maybe get him off maths.
Move on to drug prices, Mr. President. You know, drug prices down by 90%. Well, hey.
Under my most favored nation policy for drug prices, the cost of prescription drugs is coming down by up to 90%, depending on the way you calculate. You could also say 5, 6, 7, 800%.
No, stick to 90%, sir. That's the right one.
There are two ways of figuring that.
Yes, but one of them is wrong.
But I actually started with Emmanuel, who probably is in the room too.
No, get him off Macron before he starts a war with France.
And I said, Emmanuel,
Oh my God.
you're going to have to lift the price of that pill.
And he did. The end. Now let's move on.
No, Donald, I will not do that.
Oh my God, was that an accent?
I said, yes, you will, 100%.
You sure it wasn't 800%?
He said, no. You really should do it, and you will do it. I have no doubt. In fact, I am 100% sure you're going to. No, I will not do it. I said, Emmanuel, you're going to be doubling or tripling. No. I said, here's the story, Emmanuel. The answer is you're going to do it. You're going to do it fast. No, Donald, I will not do that.
Does this story have a point?
Mention the tariff now, Mr. President.
And if you don't, I'm putting a 25% tariff on everything that you sell into the United States and a 100% tariff on your wines and champagnes.
Good. Well done. Now let's.
And you're going to do it. I don't want to go public with it.
Well, you just have, so...
Our drug prices are going to be coming down by staggering 90%.
You've said that.
Again, you could say 1,000%, 2,000%.
No, you couldn't, because that would be wrong, sir.
And I said, let's put a tariff on.
No more tariff talk, sir, please.
Tariff on Switzerland. And all hell broke loose.
Oh dear, I'm sensing another no anecdote here.
And I know so many people from Switzerland. Incredible place.
Incredible, brilliant place.
Incredible, brilliant place.
Okay, good.
But I didn't realize that they're only good because of us.
Oh.
So I said no.
Tell them that the former president of the Swiss Confederation called you and you had a productive meeting.
And I guess Prime Minister...
No, not the Prime Minister, the President, the President.
I don't think President, I think Prime Minister called.
No, the President called.
A woman.
Karin Keller-Sutter is her name. Please try and say it.
And she was very repetitive.
Did you just criticize someone for being repetitive?
Here come the no-no-nos.
She said, no.
Oh, no.
I said, no, please, you cannot do it. Kept saying the same thing over and over.
Yes, but that doesn't mean you have to, sir.
We are a small country. I said, yeah, but you have a big deficit.
Ooh, zing.
We are a small country. I said, but you're a big country in terms of...
Oh my God, he stopped. What? He stopped. Why has he stopped?
Oh, he just does this from time to time. He has to shut down. Don't worry, he'll start up again in a minute.
In 50 years, the United States had reverse migration. Boy, that was nice.
Did he just say, boy, that was nice?
Oh my God, he's moved on completely. I don't know where I am now.
And these were criminals that were being taken out of our country.
Just hang on a minute, sir, please.
Murderers, drug dealers, the mentally insane, They emptied their mental institutions into the United States.
Tell him that there's absolutely no evidence of mental institutions being emptied in other countries and sent to the US, and there never has been for the 5 years that he's been talking about it. I think he must have just heard the term political asylum one day and got really confused, and no one's been able to explain it to him properly.
Well, I'm going to explain it to him properly. I'm here now. I'll do it. You watch.
Okay, go on.
All right. Mr. President, when you mention mental institutions, do you know that you're actually...
Thank you all very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I didn't know you were in the room next... Oh, right. Yeah.
The fabulous Michael Spicer there. Once again, there's a link in the description. Go and check out that video. Give him some views and subscribe. I really enjoyed that. Definitely worth playing the longer comedy clip. Yeah, his brain's like an uncooked Big Mac at this point. And good point there, Graham. Great to see you in the chat. God help us all. Jamie F., a left-wing politician, made a speech like that. The mainstream press would be all over it. Fox News in the States jumped to mind. Yeah, it's really good. So, yeah, check out some more in the Room Next Door series. One of my favourite gags there was when he said it would be like the Nazis said they were invading Poundland. That Iceland, Greenland mix up. Poundland instead of Poland. Quality wordplay from Michael Spicer. Okay, let's get into business, people. Hot seats first.
Oh no.
Yeah, I got a few updates. There have been a few announcements and some really good campaigning going on as well. From the newly announced Green candidate Hannah Spencer. So yeah, current hot seat, even. Gorton and Denton here in Manchester in this hot potato of a by-election. Just adjust that slightly. Okay. So what's new? The Greens and Labour have announced their candidates. We already knew that Matt Goodwin will be representing Reform. At the moment, it's a bit of a jostle for the favourites at the bookies, as well as in the polls. But the last poll that I saw did just have the Green Party in a narrow lead. And we're talking fractions of percent. This is really close. This is a white hot seat, people. But at the moment it looks as though the Green Party are edging it.
Jurassic Park.
And we'll see one of the reasons why. First off, we'll take a look at Hannah Spencer being announced as the candidate, which she won very convincingly, I believe, with over 78% of the vote. So we've got her acceptance speech here. Let's just grab that. Oh, 1 sec, I think we've got some buffering. I don't want to start the clip. I think we've got buffering again, unfortunately. Yeah, it's a hot potato, this seat. I'm just going to hesitate for a few seconds here, people. See if this buffering irons out again. Sorry about this. Yeah, they really do have it in for us tonight, unfortunately. Back now. Everybody else receiving. I think we are back. Yeah, sorry, I didn't want to start the clip while the buffering was happening there. You don't want to miss out on any of this. Yeah, she's been doing really well. She's really hit the ground running. This is the candidate, Hannah Spencer. Here's the acceptance speech.
I hadn't planned to do this, which is never a good start, but here we go anyway. Just as I was listening to A.S.O.I.C.E.A.F, it was just making me reflect on when A.S.O.I.C.E.A.F first co-founded the Muslim Greens, and I went to an event not a million miles away from here, where I saw A.S.O.I.C.E.A.F speak for the first time. And I just realised that was it.
Sorry,
it was
the audio's slightly
of our old historical roots as a Green Party and the new kind of vision of where the Green Party was going. And one of the first things A.S.O.I.C.E.A.F said was very openly that she joined the Green Party because of our stance against the genocide in Gaza, but she stayed because of our environmental policies, our social justice policies. And that right there is environmental, social, racial and economic justice. And that right there is the Green Party. Thank you, A.S.O.I.C.E.A.F. Westminster, the Houses of Parliament. Leaky roofs, crumbling walls. I think they need a plumber.
Sorry, that went a bit loud there. They do need a plumber though, good point. A local plumber.
And a plasterer. And we happen to have one woman who can do both. Now, voting for the Green Party is about the people of Gorton and Denton. It's about reducing their bills. It's about defending the National Health Service. It's about rebuilding our public services. But this election right here is a battle for the soul of our nation. And the dividing lines could not be clearer. We have a plumber from Manchester who knows the value of work. And they have a right-wing pundit who makes money from stoking division on TV. We have a party that is made up of community, that is people-powered. They have a party funded by dodgy donors, oil and gas, multimillionaires and billionaires. They have hate. We have hope. And friends, hope will win.
Hope, not hate.
A few years ago, I'm visiting Manchester. I'm on one of my election tours visiting local elections. And I meet Hannah for the first time. I don't just meet Hannah, I meet some huge greyhounds. Pretty huge. In fact, I think they're in the room somewhere. There we go, at the back. Got to make sure the greyhounds get a shot. You'll be hearing a lot over the next few days about plumbing and greyhounds. Two themes that will emerge. And when I met Hannah, I was instantly struck by her kindness, her warmth, and her passion for justice. And she told me very quickly, as I was stroking the dogs and trying to just give attention to the dogs, she told me about greyhound racing and all the work that she'd been doing with various campaigns to get it banned. And I said, did you know about Green Party policy, that you vote on it and that it's members-led? She got instantly interested. Now, I have this conversation with lots of people all the time, and lots of people nod at me, and then they carry on their lives. Not Hannah. Hannah almost immediately got to work. She wrote a motion with other people, she lobbied for the motion, and she got it passed at conference. And this isn't just about greyhounds, and as someone who loves dogs, it would be fine if it was. But actually, it's about the whole gambling industry, how it destroys people's lives. But it reflects the kind of person Hannah is. Someone who hears injustice, knows that there's something she can do about it, and gets stuff done. And that's exactly what a Green MP is like. And that's exactly why we need to get Hannah elected in the next 28 days.
They certainly do. Jamie, I see you're involved as well, doing some phone banking with the Greens. Good luck with that. That's awesome to see. I did speak to a Gorton and Denton resident yesterday, actually, at an event I'll be talking about a bit later on. Not sure if I did manage to get it in during Keith's Fondue Lounge before the buffering started, but Take Back Power had the first event in Manchester, so that's where I met the resident. He's back in the Greens as well, by the way, of course.
$20,000 leaflets delivered the other day, but we're not complacent. That is just the beginning. This is going to be work, it is going to be a campaign, but we are going to love every single moment, because right here in Gorton and Denton, there is a chance, not just a chance, we will make history. We are going to go out and knock on every door we can, have every conversation we have. So thank you for every single thing that you're going to do over the next month, because it is going to be a ride. And it is my absolute privilege, it's always an honour, to introduce candidates to the stage. But this for me isn't just a candidate. This is a close friend. This is a special person who I know is going to represent us amazingly on the national stage. Please welcome to the stage Manchester's first Green MP, or soon to be, Hannah Spencer!
Thank you so much,
78% of the
everybody.
vote, remember. 78%.
Sorry, it's just stuffed into my pocket and written at 2 a.m. Thank you for bearing with me. And thank you to you all for being here. As some of you know, I was actually supposed to be in college today. Thanks to my tutor Mark for letting me swing a day off. I promise I'll be back on Monday, cracking back on with the plastering. And thank you to all the members in Tameside and Manchester who voted for me, who have put their trust into me. So hello, my name is Hannah Spencer. I didn't grow up planning on being a politician. I didn't go to university to study politics. I'm a plumber here in Manchester. I fix homes for a living. I spend my days in people's kitchens, in their bathrooms and their front rooms, seeing firsthand how people are really coping. And what I've seen time and time again is people struggling. Now, everyone in this city region knows what it's like to struggle. And when I think back to the times that I've struggled, I think about the people who helped me to struggle just a little bit less. And so last year, when I, a woman with the absolute audacity to have a place in politics, when I received intense social media abuse, I think about my friend who I met through the mosque, who checked in with me, who took me out for a brew and a massive piece of cake. And when I lost my beloved greyhound Elsie suddenly, I think of my wonderful friend Asma, who sent me beautiful quotes, about animals and peace and being kind to myself. I think about the flowers given to me by women I met through a group called Rosebuds. So sorry. The flowers that made me smile through my tears every time I walked into my kitchen. And my life is full of stories like this. I've been helped by my Muslim friends, just as I've been helped by my migrant friends, by my work friends, because we are all here as neighbours. People who have fought for me and who have stood alongside with me. And the thing is, about us here in this city, we don't believe that these people are our enemies. Despite what every divisive politician or right-wing rag will try to shove down our throats, we're not buying it. Because this is Manchester, and we do things differently here.
Indeed.
And here, we're not divided by our differences. We're strengthened by them. We stand shoulder to shoulder with each other, always. Because we are the great-great-great-grandchildren of the Mancunian cotton workers who refused to handle cotton that was picked by slaves. This stuff runs through our blood.
Quite right.
And the truth is,
Bit of buffering
Muslims
for a
don't
few
keep
people.
me
I think we're
awake
back
at
now.
night.
Sorry about that,
I
people.
don't lose sleep over trans people trying to exist in peace. I don't lie in bed anxious about the migrants who come here to do the jobs that need doing. What keeps me up at night is child poverty. It's the 50% of people who live here in insecure rented accommodation. I worry about the people who work and still can't give their kids food, let alone a new school uniform. I worry about those who really can't work and have absolutely nothing. I worry about the men that I work with who are my friends and how they're at more risk of suicide than dying by any other means. I think about my friend Vicky, who was killed along with her friend 3 days before Christmas, killed by a car when they were just out for a walk. I worry about my colleagues who are veterans, who put everything on the line and then who come home to find that they're not valued at all, despite everything that they did for us. And I worry about the 3 women a week who are killed by a current or former partner. Because these are the things that keep me awake at night in this city.
Three per week. That's terrible. 3 every week.
Our struggles, and we will not have divisive politicians fly in to blame anyone else. They need to start taking responsibility. Because we're not a poor country and we are not a poor city, but government after government has treated us poorly. That's why my number 1 priority will always be taking action to cut the cost of living. So that's cheaper bills through public ownership, that's rent controls, free bus travel for young people. It means insulating homes and doing it properly. Because while Reform refuse to make the richest in society pay their fair share, and while they flirt with privatising the NHS, I will be a champion for slashing inequality, rewiring our economy to work for all of us and giving the people physical and mental health care that they need. And like so many people in this place, I don't believe that that solidarity ends on our streets. I don't believe it ends in our towns or on the UK's borders. And that's why I will be laser focused as your MP on ending Britain's enabling of Israel's genocide. And that means an end.
Yes. Flag some watermelons in the chat, please, people.
That means an end to all arms sales and the sharing of military intelligence, because Matt Goodwin might see Israel as Britain's ally, but I certainly do not. And now people like me, doing jobs like mine, we're seen as rich pickings for reform, and we've been ignored by mainstream politics for decades. We're told we're thick, we're stupid, we're uneducated, we get snooty looks if we go somewhere in our work uniforms, but we're the ones who keep stuff moving, and if we stop, absolutely everything stops.
Absolutely. And Graham, that's awesome. About that discussion on the big political picture. Great stuff.
And we're not daft. We see through it. And we're coming for Parliament.
Wouldn't it be great to see
We deserve a seat
Hannah in
wherever
Parliament?
the decisions are being made. The shiny halls of Westminster will no longer be hogged by the elite. We will fill those benches with tradespeople, with cleaners, with nurses, with taxi drivers, with anyone who has always been shut out. Because it starts with us here in the place that I call home. Now people here are fed up with Labour U-turns, stitch-ups and lies. They'll stitch up their own mayor and they'll do the same to the rest of us. And Gorton and Denton will reject a reform. A party that loves Trump, that is backed by big finance, and an extreme candidate who sees this place as just a rung on the radical right career ladder. And this election is a clear choice. Keir Starmer was too scared to let their members choose the candidate that they wanted. Nigel Farage has parachuted in a GB News presenter. But the Greens chose me, a local plumber.
Jurassic Park.
And I know I am soon to be reform's worst nightmare. I know this place so well. I've walked my greyhounds on pretty much every street in Levenshulme. There's not a bin or a lamppost that they haven't sniffed. And I can't wait to get back to the pavements and to carry on meeting amazing people and spreading the word that the Greens are going to win. And to all of us, to everyone in this place who cares about each other, whether you have or whether you have not, we are not as weak as Reform seem to think that we are. And in the face of hatred, we will do what we always do. We will stick together and we will crack on, because this is Manchester and we do things differently here. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Excellent.
Can you dig it?
I can dig that, people. How about you? I can see most of you in the chat. Appreciating that. Yes, of course, fuck Israel's very popular at the moment, for obvious reasons. One or two of you in the chat suspect that the Green Party might still perhaps have this centrist, air quotes centrist, reputation. But this is something that came up yesterday at the Take Back Power event that I mentioned earlier, actually. And I'm going to sneak in as many mentions as I can, being part of this new organisation myself. But where the Overton window is concerned, what a lot of non-violent direct action groups have done over the last few years, going back to Extinction Rebellion, Insulate Britain, through Just Stop Oil, Youth Demand, etc. The Overton window has really been shifted, especially where a lot of the mainstream political parties were concerned, and I include the Greens in a lot of that because I do know a lot of Green Party members myself, even though I'm not a member, nor am I a member of your party. And they thoroughly agree that that shift has happened within the Overton window, and I don't think you can argue with anything that Hannah Spencer was saying there in the acceptance speech. I certainly can't. And she does seem genuine as well. Like a lot of you are saying in chat also, no, I can't see her doing a Angela Rayner myself. She does come across as genuinely grassroots. Grafter versus grifter is one of the taglines that this hot seat has picked up, and it's obvious to see why. So as well as a great acceptance speech, Hannah immediately went on the campaign trail, including on social media, where she's already put up some pretty impressive clips, which we're going to take a look at now, in seriously challenging Reform as well as Labour, who I now strongly suspect are likely to finish third. You heard it here first, people. Not on this stream, I think I might have mentioned that a few days ago. Remains to be seen, but it's definitely going to be a narrow win. Let's hope for the Greens. I was just trying to remember off the top of my head how long Labour have held the seat for. It is a very, very, very long time. Could be all over.
Oh no.
Alright, some more from Hannah Spencer now. Let's check these social media vids out. Quite impressive. First of all, about the flag shaggers.
So, these flags, I'll say this, that took effort. Those flags go for miles, they're all evenly spaced, they're all the same height, and I know from working up a ladder, like fitting gutters and boiler flues and whatnot, like that is not easy. And so if you're using your time and your tools and your practical skills because you want your country back, please come and join the rest of us who are actually trying to get our country back. Come and volunteer at our monthly clean-ups. Come and join the gardening group. Come and fix the broken fencing that needs repairing. Come to the community arts centre that helps so many people but that always needs volunteers. Like, come and do all of those things that will actually get our country back. Because if you've got the time, the tools and the skills, and at the moment you're just putting flags up, please give your head a little wobble and then come and join the rest of us who are actually trying to get our country back.
Exactly. Talking a lot about what can be done in the community there, not just pointing out from the coast, not just scapegoating migrants, asylum seekers and refugees, etc. Really sound stuff there from Hannah Spencer, and she's not done with taking on the far right or Nigel Farage directly either. Let's see another clip.
Right, Nigel, honey, what's the plan? What is the plan? Because if Reform are going to take away indefinite right to remain from people, which is a pretty shitty thing to do once they've already been given it, but like, who's going to do their jobs? You know, all those jobs that they do, like driving buses, working in care homes to look after our elderly, propping up the NHS, like cleaning, operating theatres, doing the operations. Who's going to do all that? Because last year, 500,000 people, for whatever reason, left the UK. So all those jobs that they might have done, obviously we need people to come and do them. So how's that going to work, Nige? What's the plan?
They never have a plan for that, of course. Quite correct here. Pretty much, where those things are concerned, they don't account for just how much the country does rely on migrants and workers of all kinds, workers who do menial jobs right the way up to professionals, healthcare professionals, doctors, surgeons, architects, designers, you name it, across the whole board of spectrum. Retail work included in that as well. But the far right don't care about that. They certainly don't have the brains to take on some of those occupations themselves either.
Are you going to take on an extra job or what? Obviously, I assume you've thought this far ahead, and of course this couldn't possibly be another one of Reform's gimmicks. No. Obviously there's a plan. So what is it, Nige? Come and tell us. Right. No.
I just love how direct she is there as well, so I think it sort of froze a little bit at the end. It's the... One sec. Buffering again. Apologies, people. Just wait 1 second. Don't know if you can hear me or not. We are back, I believe. Sorry about the buffering once again. JK, you're not too confident about the prospect of a socialist government within your lifetime? Well, we'll have to see. We certainly know that we've got till 2029 to stop the fash. Whether that will result in a socialist government at the moment is a bit of a long shot, but there are certainly political parties as well as organisations who are trying to do something about that. And once again, I'll go on to a bit more about that later on. We take back power. We try and be as optimistic as we can though. But since the Corbyn Labour era, there hasn't been a solid prospect of a socialist government, unfortunately, with Starmer at the reins. Graham, she certainly does have a feisty side to her, and we're going to see a bit more of that now. Again, directly challenging reform voters, the far right in general. This time, the fake patriotism once again. She already took a stab at the so-called Raise the Flags campaign, which is just an intimidatory tactic by the far right, of course. This time, this time concerning their lack of patriotism where sport's concerned. And she makes this video while she's plastering as well, which is even more impressive.
So I've just found out that the far right are organising a little protest near me this Sunday at a hotel, and they've decided to do it at 4:30, which feels a little bit odd, considering them lot are supposed to be patriotic and all that they've chosen to do it when the Lionesses are in the Euros final. So I will be not attending myself because I'm definitely going to be in a pub watching England.
Oh, very good, very good. Yeah, calling them out. Was all the Was all the nationalism there? So I dare say. Hannah might be a little bit half-cut by now, but she certainly deserves a drink or two after those clips from social media. Yeah, someone who, frankly, I hadn't personally heard of until a few days ago, until she won the candidacy. Did hear that she'd been selected a bit early, accidentally put it up on social media. Took it down again. I was right though. So good luck any other Green Party members in the chat. Yeah, like I said at the Manchester event yesterday, did enjoy speaking to a Gorton and Denton resident. I did try and get them on the record, unfortunately we didn't find the opportunity because it was a really good event actually. There was a lot going on, but do have some footage of one of Take Back Power's spokes, Fiona, coming up a bit later on, being interviewed by a young journalist from Salford, so do have some exclusive content there as well. I'd love to see Farage's face when he saw some of those videos. So yeah, Reform candidate Matt Goodwin here seen with a, I don't know if it's his, just a picture with a Lamborghini or whatever, you know, dressed up like a complete spiv. Yeah, it doesn't exactly scream man of the people, does it? And he's from St Albans, which is almost 200 miles away from the constituency of Gorton and Denton. He has no real ties to the constituency whatsoever. He's trashed Manchester a few times in the past on social media, as we've pointed out. Farage himself did make an appearance in the constituency. Dare say he might be desperately trying to visit there more than he's seen in Clacton-on-Sea in the next few weeks. This is, of course, a comedy picture doctored, you might have noticed, eagle-eyed viewers. Not by yours truly, but I don't have the original uploader. That's good though. I'm voting for a grifting tosser, say some of the comedies, which is a comedy just to re-emphasise. Please be kind to us. Oh, algorithm gods. Has Helena done an interview with Hannah Spencer? I've not come across that one. Yeah, I will have to check that out. Thanks for the pointer there. We do like to keep up with Helena at No Justice, as well as Kevin Logan. Actually, I'll be getting onto the Polanski Kussenberg interview, but both those channels, No Justice and Kevin Logan, do an excellent regular analysis of the full show. Always happy to give a shout out. It's a 2025's alternative YouTube channel of the year, actually, the co-winners. Quality content. A bit of an article here. So whilst Farage was visiting Reform, he was subject to a fair bit of heckling. Wasn't particularly well received. Let's see what's happening there, people. just grab this article now. Don't forget to hit thumbs up, please. As you join us on stream, people, quick reminder, super chats are open, super stickers, as well as super thanks if you're watching back later on. There's a buy me a coffee page in the description of the stream or any other content on the channel, so do check that out. Okay, just get this up now on the screen capture. A good point there in the chat as well, Jamie. We can't have a capitalist system for much longer while still having a livable planet. That is an undeniable fact. Right, okay. Sorry, the page is just been a bit slow loading up. Whilst he was there, crowds called him a wanker, and I think also possibly a twat. What's the thing from Brass Eye? What was the quote? And later, fuck nut and arse candle. I think that's right. No milkshake this time. Let's see what's happening. This is from the National Scot, by the way. Sorry, there's a shitload of ads on this thing. The Reform UK leader joined the party's candidate announced earlier this week as GB News presenter and former academic and former clever person, if you want to put it that way, Matt Goodwin, sellout careerist. They went for a walkabout on Friday morning, meeting and greeting voters, flanked by his candidate Farage told party supporters. We've got an excellent, strong candidate who I've known for 15 years. So what? Oh yeah, we'll vote for him because he's known Nigel Farage for 15 years. What sort of accreditation is that supposed to be? He says that he knows Matt's going to do, going absolutely to put his shoulder to the wheel and work very, very hard. The key to this is finding people out there that agree with us. Okay, they're getting down on our data and then turning them out on the day. If we do that, we've got every chance of winning. That's generally... that was a very long-winded, broad way of saying we hope to acquire votes because people will want to vote for us. Not much, very thin on local policy, as opposed to Hannah Slater, of course. Well, there you go. 1918. That's I posed the question earlier. That's how long Labour have had the seat since. Wow, incredible! 108 years. Could be going down the drain. To refer to Reform as the party of hope, as he does here, though, I think he's completely deluded. Britain's broke, blah blah blah. Again, very thin on policy, not worth reading out the whole lot there. But a number of car horns blared and two van drivers shouted encouragement, but moments later a passing car driver shouted wanker. The by-election is expected to take place on February 26th. Just a few weeks to go. That's after former Labour incumbent Andrew Gwynn stood down for health reasons. So let's hope that the Greens can pip the wanker. Got to stay optimistic, people. It can be done. This hot seat. Let's have a look at Zach Polanski's interview now on Laura Kussenberg. Just the interview itself, not the post-analysis with the panel and all that. Like I said, if you want a full analysis of the show, definitely recommend No Justice and Kevin Logan. Flo Stank, nice to see you in the chat. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for the watermelons as well. I'm not sure if Matt Goodwin does know what hard work means, being a GB News hack himself. Alright, like I said earlier, I've only seen one or two very small snippets of this, so mostly a first time watch for me. But I'm sure he's going to play a blinder as always.
Zach Polanski!
I think it's a moment where people have been waiting for an alternative. I think for decades people have had enough of the Labour Party and the Conservative Party. What I'm offering is a positive politics that's about hope, and not just abstract ideas, but tangible ideas to lower people's bills.
There's a by-election in Manchester. Why are you not standing there? If you thought you could win, surely you'd be having a pop.
I live in London, I'm a Mancunian, I've been in London for about 20 years. And the Green Party really believes in nurturing local talent and really lifting up someone from the community. And when a seat comes up in London, I'll absolutely be going for it.
Do you ever worry that some more rural...
Good point there as well. This has come up before about the chances of Polanski standing himself in a Manchester seat, where they do look set to make considerable gains in the next general election. But the same applies to London as well. In fact, for the first time, the Green Party have surpassed Labour, in polling that is, as the most popular party in every London constituency. And I'm certain that Zach Polanski will be able to pick up a seat there, so that's a pretty sound tactic as well from Zach.
Maybe more small C Conservative Green voters might feel a bit alienated by some of the urban sort of noise that you're making.
Well, there's 600 people where we are today that have turned up to come campaigning, but actually when I go to rural areas, we're getting similar numbers. And that's because actually inequality hits you wherever you live. Rich people have got richer and the gap's got wider than ever before. And I think that message is universal.
What's one thing about Zach Polanski people might not know?
Well, you said that I've got questionable dancing skills, and I used to break dance, so I'm not going to do that on your show, but people should know that.
Well, you never know. Dancing in the studio could be a first. Zach Polanski, thank you very much indeed for coming in again. Now, you're emphasising today that the Greens believe in rent control. It's a plan that the party's had for a while, but you want to sort of push that to the forward. But when you look at parts of the world where rents have been capped in that way, the evidence is really mixed. So why do you want to do it?
Well, it's about getting it right. And right now, people are really struggling. People who run small businesses, people who are unemployed, even people who run big businesses are really feeling the pinch. But one of the groups that's feeling it the most is renters. They're stuck between people who own their own house and people who have a council house. They're stuck in an overinflated market where landlords can often charge what they want. Now, there's 16 European countries that have brought in rent controls, and it has been successful. So I think the obvious thing to do here is to look at the evidence where it's not worked and not do that. Look at where it's worked and make sure we adopt a similar system.
But lots of landlords are struggling too. You know, a lot of landlords are not wealthy people. They might be people who've saved, maybe saved up to get a small flat. Having a rental income from a flat is part of the money that they rely on.
Well, we need to make sure that we're protecting everyone, but ultimately, if you're a landlord, you are doing better than
the so-called concept of passive income is just working off the backs of other people. That's as plain and simple as you can put it. And there's an incredibly sort of counterintuitive thing where house prices and the housing market is concerned, that they're pretty much the only thing, you know, outside of antiquities and whatnot, that increase in value as they get older. Or, you know, ancient artifacts and whatever, but we're talking about a situation, well, especially within capitalism, where most things depreciate in value after you've bought them. Motor vehicles especially have a reputation for that, for example, so they're not an asset. Well, they are, but they're a depreciating asset. In this case, it's just always expected that the value will increase, and therefore it's working off of other people's backs. But a lot of the worst element of landlordism is this happening on a massive scale, and rent prices, housing prices are just ridiculous at the moment, and it's a runaway trend that's got to be stopped. It's got to be stopped, because surely having a roof over your head has got to be considered a human right, you know, in the 21st century, for goodness sake. The sort of concept of houses as assets, I think, has really got to be worked with and ironed out. And let's not forget, you know, when that very market itself crashed almost 20 years ago, it nearly took the entire world economy with it. And a lot of people suffered for a great many years. That led us to austerity, the so-called quantitative easing remedy, to all of the problems that crash created. But it's just poverty and austerity rebranded, the thing that we now, or a lot of politicians, that is, refer to as the so-called cost of living crisis. But it's just plain old-fashioned poverty, isn't it, people? Don't know how many times I've mentioned that on the channel.
renter. Now, if you're someone who owns one home, a lot of that money that you're making won't actually be on the rent. It'll be on the capital gains on the building that you own. But we have landlords that sometimes own dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of properties. And again, it's about the deep injustice between a very small group of people who own a very lot and then masses of people who own absolutely nothing.
But how would you actually make it work then? Because as you say, there's lots of places. If you look in the Netherlands, they've had severe rental shortages, which is often said to be as a result of controls on rent. Sweden's got extremely long waiting lists for rental properties, some of as long as 10 years, and there's been an increase in black market rental there. So what model are you looking at?
Well, the first thing is, I think the mayors need to be given the powers for rent controls. Now, I sit as an elected member of the London Assembly, and Sadiq Khan, as London Mayor, was calling for rent controls. But he said when we had a Labour government and a Labour Mayor, that would be the difference this country needed. I don't know if people have noticed, there hasn't been much difference, and where there has, things have got worse.
But in terms of your plan then, no, you would not dictate rent controls, you would give the power to mayors to set rent controls if they wanted. That would be the way you would do it.
Exactly, based on local incomes, based on affordability, based on housing stock, because we need to build more houses too. I should say, though, if national government wanted to do this on a national level, I wouldn't oppose that either. Just someone needs to do that, and whether it comes at the most local level or the national level, that's a conversation I'm open to.
Yeah, and a lot of these rip-off landlords, the ones that... I'm just going to change
the problem.
That's a better freeze frame. But the landlords that Polanski is referring to, they're the ones that own dozens, sometimes hundreds of properties that they let out. They're the biggest problem. And they would argue that they are in fact providing housing, but they're not. They are hoarding it for rip-off rents. And a lot of them are under-maintained as well. People are forced to live in substandard housing now because of the lack of regulation as well. It's got to be tackled. It's got to be tackled.
That we need to fix is the spiralling rents that are getting more and more expensive.
This is one of your kinds of policies that's part of your pitch to be, your phrase, an eco-populist. You know, you're presenting a sort of edgier, leftier version of the Greens. But one of your activists in Manchester this week said that you're no longer for the tree-hugging middle class. Now, I don't want to offend tree huggers, But it's quite something, isn't it, to say you're not for the middle class anymore. You're telling some voters they're not welcome in the Greens.
Well, I'm absolutely not saying that. In fact, we're the party of the 99% versus the 1%. So when you get a party like Reform that claim to be populist, I would argue they're misusing the words. Nigel Farage is literally serving the 1%, and what the Green Party are looking to do is serve the 99%. I should say, as a tree hugger myself, though, the climate crisis is a real threat. It's not some distant threat. It's right here and right now. It's just that you can't talk about the climate crisis without tackling the injustice I was just talking about.
But hang on, one of your activists said on the record you're no longer a party for...
Just pause it there. That's absolutely true as well. I'll be talking more about that when we get on to the event I attended yesterday with Take Back Power. But the billionaires and the wealth gap is the thing. Whatever your concern is, it's like this dark shadow that looms over all of us. The wealth gap, the influence of billionaires, etc. Whether your concerns are environmental, whether it's other societal problems or inequalities. They've always got their hands all over whatever problem it is. We'll have to put a stop to that as well. Floor Snake, I do like those names in the chat there. Plumber versus Tool, Hannah versus Spanner, and Mank versus Wank. But definitely not Spencer versus Mensa. No, definitely not. I do like that one. That's the way it is, though, in Gorton and Denton. Nice to see you, Flo.
For the middle class, and you are shifting the party's focus away from having sort of environmentalism at the top of the list. Now, you said you're quite proud about that because you see cost of living as being the biggest thing right now.
I was going to point that out as well, obviously. I think the point that she's referring to, what Polanski meant to say, was that they're broadening the horizons. Yeah, like I said earlier, historically they might have been limited to certain demographics, the so-called centrism. Things are different now. A lot's happened, especially where the environment's concerned. We've had about 18 months of a Starmer government now, and things still in decline. Not on the mend as they should be. And that's played a large part in it as well. We've unfortunately seen the formation of your party stagger and struggle, and it's had its teething problems, certainly. We're all aware of those. And in the end, aside from independent candidates, Polanski's filled that space on the left. You also have the Workers' Party of Britain, of course, but there are arguments about individuals who are involved with that party. I know they don't exactly fit everybody's politics. That's a different argument, but it's transpired that where left-wing policies are concerned now, it's most of it is about Polanski at the moment. I'd like to see your party get things together and start to do well. Also, because political parties as well as organisations really do have to stand up to the far right. We've only got a few years to do so. So, one chance. We can't miss this or mess it up.
But aren't you in danger of alienating some voters who've come to you in the past? One of your colleagues said to me some of their voters were needing some reassurance when they see the change in tone that you've brought in to the Green Party.
Well, I think the change in tone is partly because our country is going so badly. People's bills are going higher and higher. People dread opening their next energy bill or their water bill. In fact, so many people feel like they're running all the time just to stay on the spot and try and keep up. And actually what we really need to be doing is reducing people's bills. And how do we do that? Things like if we stopped shareholder profits by water nationalisation, so bringing water companies back into public hands.
I'm finding it rather strange that you can hear some murmurs of agreement as Zach's answering here from Laura Kussenberg. She's a firm Tory herself. We know that by reputation and record, of course. So, yeah, quite. He is talking sense. I guess it just goes to show how undeniable it is.
That could reduce people's water bills by about 30% because all of that's going on profit.
But the question here is whether or not you as a leader, and you're doing well in the polls, you've got new members, but there is some hesitation in your party about the kind of edgier image that you are presenting. Do you acknowledge that's a risk?
I think there's always a risk in politics, but I would also say that since I became leader of the Green Party, over 130,000 people have joined. Yesterday...
Well, he obviously took the words out of my mouth there. A risk? Have you seen the polling? Have you seen the membership numbers? Certainly none of the current statistics out there support that hypothesis. It just could be a question of sour grapes from certain elements within the Green Party, but come on, certainly even they can't deny how well he's doing. And it's all because of that shift in the Overton window. The Green Party have gone further to the left, and that's the result.
In Manchester, 1,000 posters went up on the streets of Manchester. And what I'm hearing all over the place, whether it's in England and Wales, particularly where we're looking to win Anthony Slaughter in the Senedd in May and another Green representation, wherever I go, people are saying, actually, this is what we need right now. We need politicians who will tell it straight, who diagnose the problem, who feel the anger the country is feeling right now, but not fuel it in the way that Reform do, but actually turn it to hope with practical solutions to reduce people's bills, defend the National Health Service and rebuild our public services.
So you say you want to turn people's anger into hope, but you've also said that you're going to make an issue of Gaza in the by-election in an area where there is a large Muslim population. Doesn't that just stir up division?
Well, I think I'm not making an issue of Gaza. We have a government that's not just complicit, but actively been arming a genocide that's been going on for years now. And I don't think it's just people who are Muslim who are concerned about this. In fact, polling shows time and time again, people are deeply unhappy, to understate it, about our government's role with the Israeli government. And so when I'm in Gorton and Denton, I'm absolutely going to be talking about the same things we've just spoken about, reducing people's bills and protecting people from an economy that's not working for them. And at the same time, you can do more than one thing at once and say we have a government that's outrageous.
Of course, but if you say you want to be a candidate to bring people together, to provide hope, you know how an important an issue Gaza is, but also how divisive an issue it can be. And you have said this week it will certainly be an element in the contest. So don't...
Well, I think it's divisive, really. You've got to acknowledge the war crimes that are happening, the genocide, the annexation. There's no division in that. There's nothing wrong with calling for a stop to it either. There shouldn't be anything divisive about that, unless you are, of course, pro-war crime, Laura.
You have any concern about stirring things up? Because it might be, as you've already referenced, it might be quite a brutal, ugly by-election campaign, given everything that's in the ether.
I don't actually find it divisive. I think if you're taking money from arms companies, I can probably see why you might plant the attack line that's divisive. But what I'm actually saying is that we need peace, both for the Israeli people and the Palestinian people. I don't think that's a divisive message. I think that's a human rights message.
OK, let's talk about another issue then, because the Prime Minister had a pop at you at Prime Minister's Questions this week. He said you were high on drugs and soft on Putin. You called that disgraceful and disrespectful, but isn't that part of the, sometimes pretty brutal banter of Prime Minister's Questions?
It's absolutely part of it, but I would note that I wasn't there to reply, so I'm glad to be on your show now, which I would argue has a bigger audience. That was beneath the office of the Prime Minister. Let's start with the drugs comment. First of all, there are thousands and thousands of unnecessary deaths from drug harm and from dangerous drugs. And actually what we need is a public health approach. That's not me saying that, that's experts who work in the National Health Service who say this just isn't working. So when I talk about legalising drugs, the key bit is it's about legalising and regulating. If someone has a problematic relationship to drugs, then surely the answer is to make sure they're seen by a medical health professional who can help them. But to have Keir Starmer making cheap jokes, delivered badly, by the way, from the dispatch box was pretty disgraceful. And on Putin, this is the Prime Minister who is subservient to Donald Trump, a man who says that he admires Vladimir Putin while shaming Zelensky in the White House. Again, defence is a really serious issue. There is no bigger number one priority for a government or for a leader of a political party than to defend the people of this country, and to make jokes about Putin and Russia, I think, is pretty vile.
Let's just stick, though, with your drugs policy, because it's very different to all of the other political parties. So you do say you would legalise all drugs, including Class A substances, heroin and crack. There are some health professionals who say that would be the right approach, but that's not a united view. Isn't there a real danger you send a message, particularly to young people, that the use of dangerous drugs is okay?
Well, first of all, we could talk about alcohol, which can sometimes be one of the most dangerous drugs. And actually, we need a public health approach to that too.
But we're talking about other drugs here. We're not talking about alcohol. I'm just asking you, isn't there a danger that you send a message to young people in particular, if you legalised all drugs, the message there says it's okay to use drugs?
Well, the Prime Minister of this country, by the way, made a joke about taking drugs in university. And what we see is this is very racialised. In fact, very often it is young black people who are stopped and searched in the street, particularly in London, 8 times more likely than their white peers, despite the fact there is no evidence they're any more likely to be holding or taking drugs.
But the question is, do you see that there might be a danger if you legalise, that it would send a message to young people that it's okay to take drugs?
I think the danger is happening right now, which is where we're pushing it into street corners and into a black market. There's an organisation called Anyone's Child, who is people who have children, grandchildren, brothers and sisters who have died to the so-called war on drugs.
Yeah, it's treating it as a medical issue, which it is. That is addiction, even where Class A's are concerned. Rightly categorising it instead of the stigma that is attached to it in society. You've got to shake that off and use a much more pragmatic approach to it. In other countries that have implemented similar policies, it has worked as well. So, pretty reaching from Kussenberg.
And they're saying very clearly with one voice, we need a national conversation about how the war on drugs is not working. In fact, it's making drugs more dangerous. And actually what we need is a grown-up conversation based in evidence, taking a public health approach that looks at prevention, intervention, and make sure that afterwards people can get the support they need.
You say there that the Prime Minister joked about using drugs at university. Did you?
I've actually never taken a drug in my life or even drunk alcohol, but I still don't sit here.
Bazinga. Yeah, not a drop. Not a drop. But as you said before, Keir Starmer, I think, made some sort of passing comment about taking drugs when he was a student. So he's completely teetotal, Zach Polanski.
The fun police, I very clearly believe people should be able to do what they want to do. It just wasn't for me. But this is about the system change that we need. This is about what is happening from government that is clearly having a hypocritical approach when we've had ministers, both from the Labour government and the Conservative government, who have openly said on record that they've taken drugs, yet they're incarcerating, i.e. putting in prison, people who have taken drugs, and very often, again, it's disproportionately young black and brown people.
I think people listening might wonder why you've never had a drink, never touched a drop of alcohol. Why is that? A position of principle, or what's that all about?
Not at all. I just grew up in school where a lot of my friends were drinking and, in fact, taking drugs, and often it felt like someone needed to be sober. I've always liked dancing. In fact, that's how every interview started. And I've always liked dancing without taking drink or drugs. As I say, though, if anyone wants to do it and they're doing it safely, I'm really glad people are having a good time. But we know lots of people aren't taking it safely, so let's make sure they get the support they need.
Politics is becoming such a patchwork now, and you and Steve Reid had a bit of a face-off at the top of the programme about the by-election. But some of your Green colleagues say, look, your biggest chance of influence is going to be, whether tacitly or overtly, you have some kind of understanding with some of the other parties on the left, you know, either through tactical voting or perhaps you might have a say if there's a hung parliament at the next election.
Yeah, she doesn't do real research, bit of a attack dog method, as you pointed out in the chat there, Aaron. I completely agree with that, of course. She pointed out doctors were the issue of addiction is concerned and decriminalisation, but did her best to try and say that it's not, paraphrasing, but not a united view, is what she said about it. Give me an issue where there is 100% united view, you'll struggle to find one. Because Kussenberg herself, just moments earlier, tried to say that being anti-genocide is somewhat of a divisive issue, and being against selling arms to Israel is a divisive issue as well. So, yeah, just pulling that one. Well, not everybody says this. Not everybody agrees. Whatever topic you're going to be interviewing him about, you're not going to get 100% consensus on practically anything. So not great research, I should say. Pretty barrel scraping stuff.
You've said you wouldn't work with Keir Starmer. Would you work with other politicians on the left? Would you work with Andy Burnham?
Well, that depends on if they were Prime Minister, and I think that's a big, big caveat, and what kind of policy platform they were putting forward. So it's impossible. I always want to answer questions directly, but a hypothetical question when we don't know their policy platform is very, very difficult. But I should say my biggest focus, and actually, again, Gorton and Denton is an exact opportunity to do this, is to win outright and start to win more and more MPs.
But
and you
it's
don't
an
need to
important position because you're quite happy to say you wouldn't work with Keir Starmer because you don't trust him. Would you work with the Lib Dems? You used to be in the Lib Dem party some time ago.
Well, again, I don't...
What does work... Define what work with means. Work with on what? Because, within the political system, you have committees and whatnot that are made up of multiple parties. You're bound to have legislation, bills, etc., that other parties do agree on passing, and some that they don't as well. But if she's talking about coalition... then no, of course not. Because I don't think the Labour government have earned the right to stay in power. It's they who've held the door open for Reform to take massive lead in the polls. Why they're the biggest threat to Labour at the moment. Why they're the party that we've got to stop from winning in 2029. So no, they shouldn't be rewarded for that by collaboration, just to ride off the back of the Green Party's success. So he's quite right to rule that out again on merit and on record.
Particularly trust a lot of their politicians, but it depends, again, what they were putting forward as a policy platform. I think we need to take the personality politics out of it and actually say, what are the practical steps to get things done? If I was working with another politician, I'd want some obvious demands: a wealth tax on multimillionaires and billionaires, proper action on the climate crisis, and indeed proportional representation, so people's votes actually counted.
You've had this splurge of success at the moment. We'll see what will happen in the by-election. But there is a test for the Greens.
I just want to say quickly as well, we want to avoid another 2010 here, but with slightly different coloured rosettes. Of course, back then it was the Tories and the Lib Dems who got together after, the Lib Dems had arguably, out of the main parties, the most socialist left-wing manifesto out of the others, including Labour, who were under Miliband at the time. So this time around, a Labour Greens coalition, that isn't something that I'd want to see. Certainly not. The policies that Zach's talking about, insisting on here, I think they'd be completely thrown out of the window by Starmer. They're just 100% affiliated with organisations like Labour Friends of Israel. 25% of the government have ties to Israeli donors.
It's about whether or not you can become that really serious force with your potential eyes on number 10. One thing you've said, along with not using drink or drugs, is that you don't fly. Now, that's from an environmental position. But is it credible to say that you could actually be a candidate for high office if you wouldn't get on a plane? Would you get on a plane to go and see other leaders if you actually achieve high office?
Yes, obviously.
So you would change your position on that?
Well, if I was Prime Minister of a country or a Secretary of State and needed to do it for diplomatic reasons, I'd make sure that we looked at Zoom or Teams or whatever, first of all, a remote call. But certainly there's times where you need to be sat down with someone diplomatically. That's very different now to being leader of a party where I think flying would just be about ego.
OK. Zach Polanski, it's great to have you with us again.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you very much indeed for coming in. And it's an interesting...
I think he did pretty well there. Even though Kussenberg wasn't too impressive, as ever. She was a bit more softball than I was expecting, to be honest. Yeah, well said there. And that's just about where we'll leave the hot seat in Gorton and Denton for now. The official current My Left Eye prediction is narrow Green Party win, Reform in second and Labour in third. Wouldn't mind seeing Reform in third either. But we'll just move on to another bit of UK news now. Just going to load up this article. So yeah, there's been another massive file dump where the Epstein files are concerned. 2 Eiffel Towers worth, I think it was described as, the size of it, these millions of documents contained within. Just a quick look at the latest on that. And then specifically about someone whose name appears thousands of times now transpires, and there have been some financial transactions that have come to light as well concerning a certain former ambassador to the United States.
He's an asshole, sir.
Okay, just pull this up now. Yeah, I wouldn't want the task of having to go through all of those. I mean, can you imagine? Some of the stuff's already made its way into the mainstream press, including concerning Andrew Mountbatten Windsor as well. Pictures of him apparently frolicking on the floor with, is that Ghislaine Maxwell? Not sure. Oh, hardly knew them, hardly knew them. It appears the female is unnamed. So, the latest information digs an even deeper hole for Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. BBC writes. Even Starmer suggested that he should now testify to US Congress. Of course, he's still trying to project a disassociation. But he probably knows a lot that he isn't saying. This is only going to get worse for the former royal. The photos are among 3 million pages of documents related to the late sex offender released on Friday. That's 6 weeks after the deadline mandated in a law signed by President Trump. I think we all know why he wouldn't want them coming to light either. Other documents, many of which are heavily redacted, involve email exchanges, details about properties and information on his death in a New York prison cell. Survivors and the Democrats are calling for full release of everything, even though 3 million have been released. There's still more to come. That deadline's long past, as we saw. Howard Lutnick's name's come up. Billionaire, businessman and US Commerce Department Secretary. Apparently visited the island, Little St. James, with his family, according to the emails. Norway's Crown Princess's name has come up, which has apparently caused some embarrassment from an email exchange in 2013. She said she regretted ever having contact with Epstein and said she should have checked his background better. Yeah. No shit. BBC Verify have confirmed apparently that that's in Epstein's mansion. Those pictures of Mountbatten Windsor. An email exchange believed to be between Epstein and 3 others in 2011, including one person whose name is redacted, says, I think Fergie can now say I'm not a pedo. It adds she was duped into believing false stories. So yeah, Sarah Ferguson, Mountbatten Windsor's former wife. What a strange thing to say. I won't go through the rest of this. We'll just get on to one individual that I did mention, or hint at mentioning. The former UK ambassador to the United States, Peter Mandel. Now, the question here is, why on earth would Epstein have sent $75,000 to accounts linked to Mandelson, as these files apparently suggest? Supposed to have taken place between 2003 and 2004, Epstein sent 3 separate $25,000 payments referencing Mandelson. Again, part of this huge information and document dump. He says he has no recollection of receiving the sums and did not know whether the documents were authentic. Pretty desperate. Now, come on. Those sort of sums of money, and you wouldn't remember receiving them? Goodness me. Don't want to see that. Picture of Peter Mandel in his pants. No, thank you very much. I won't burden you with that image, people. So the first payment was dated on the 14th of May 2003. It shows a payment sent to a Barclays bank account, where Reynaldo Avila da Silva, who was Mandelson's partner at the time, is named as A.C. In an abbreviation. And Mandelson named as the beneficiary. Another 2 payments of 25 grand. Don't know about you, but you'd probably notice if 75 grand landed in your bank account. He's denied it happened, he's denied remembering it in an expected slimy fashion. Of course, the article reminds us he was sacked from his position after further revelations emerged about his friendship with Epstein, including supportive emails after he was convicted. And then the ludicrous claim that he was kept separate from Epstein's sex life because he's gay, and also denied seeing young girls at Epstein's properties. I won't be surprised if some of the documents released counteract that claim. Not about you. Maxwell's going to testify as well, isn't she, apparently? That was confirmed recently. Goodness me. We'll wait and see what comes up with that. I think I'll just leave that there. Can't talk about this creep for too long without it making my skin crawl. If you've got any ideas about what you think the transactions might have been about, let us know in the chats, let us know in the comments if you watch it back later on. Please make sure that you've hit the thumbs up button as well on the stream. Do share some of our content around social media. Give us a follow whilst you're there as well, please. At @MyLeftEye UK, preferably on Blue Sky, but we're also on Twitter and Mastodon. Any viewers moved to Upscrolled? That's supposed to be another new one. It's getting quite popular at the moment. Let us know if that one's worth checking out. Good point there, WYCD. The worst of that stuff is still being retained or shredded. Good point. Give those eyeballs a good wash as well. Yeah. Have any of you heard that Tony Blair was mentioned? Would that be a complete shock? I don't think so. But it's the end of the road for Peter Mandel's political career, at least. Rest assured, the man who said he spent every waking hour of his life trying to undermine Jeremy Corbyn.
Pathetic!
We'll keep you up to speed if any more comes out about that, but we'll get on to a different topic now. Moving over to the United States, a couple of stories from across the Atlantic. Starting with the latest in the ice-capades. It's time for a song of ICE and fire. Well, what's the latest from ICE? Just a few things to get through, a bit of a mixed bag, some good news, some bad news. I don't know if you've seen this clip that was going around social media. Just a slight warning for anyone of a sensitive disposition. There's nothing too violent or graphic here, but you're about to see ICE grabbing a kid off the streets, that is an unaccompanied minor, which they're not supposed to do, they're not authorised to do, but also the way he's treated as well, even when they have him pinned to the ground. It's completely disgusting, so I don't know if you've seen this one yet, but this is one of the latest examples of what these bastards are up to.
Oh shit.
Why do they need a dog? You know, he's already cuffed, face down, on the pavement, in a probably very uncomfortable position as well. What's the point in having an attack dog? It's appalling. You can hear members of the public outraged as well. A few people coming over to have words with the officers. And look at this lad. He's 16 years old. Like I said, unaccompanied. They're completely out of jurisdiction here.
Hey, back up! Push it back up! Push it back up! Back up! Back up! Back up! Back up!
Do you believe that? Disgusting. Disgusting. I think that was in Miami. There were protests over the weekend all across the United States of America, including in California and New York, with some absolutely massive turnouts as well, against that very thing, as well as, of course, the 2 historic murders as well. It's just horrible stuff. A lot of the far right in the US think that this will never happen to them. But did you hear about this one? Apparently the woman who performed the Vote Trump song at one of the rallies has now been left in tears after ICE detained her husband, again in Miami. Just goes to show. The proverb that came to mind when I first heard about this was the one about the axe. The trees didn't fear the axe because they thought it was one of them. The handle being made of wood. There you go. There you go. You can call that karma if you like. But they never think it'll happen to them, do they? I just saw the on-screen chat out here. Thanks for the feedback. It's just frozen. Should be all right now. But let's try and cheer ourselves up with something. And again, I believe this is a parody. I did double check this time around. But it's worth a look at nonetheless. Just a reminder, of course, this is CGI, AI, whatever you'd like to call it. Just be very clear about that. But something a bit more light-hearted.
You're looking live at downtown Minneapolis, where a protester dressed in a full-body foam hand flipping the bird is somehow outrunning federal agents on what appears to be an oversized office chair with wheels. This has been going on for several blocks now. You're looking live at downtown...
It's only a short one, but it's really good. And you see a couple of them falling over there. Not got the Benny Hill theme on standby this time, unfortunately. Did you see that one coming around? Pretty sure it's, pretty sure it's CGI.
Full-body foam hand flipping the bird is somehow outrunning federal agents on what appears to be an oversized office chair with wheels. This has been going on for several blocks now. You're looking live.
Several blocks. Nah. Don't think that one actually happened. Still funny though. Still funny. It's just a laugh. It's just a laugh. Also in the States, just away from the A.S.O.I.C.E.A.F now, a bit more positive news. This time in the case of Luigi Mangione, who's accused of the murder of the healthcare CEO, of course. Let's just bring this one up now. A lot of the charges have been dropped against him. One of the other major things is now that if he is convicted, he will not face the death penalty. In my opinion, I'm not entirely sure that we should assume that he's the perpetrator. First and foremost, this has got to be proven in a court of law. I've certainly not seen or heard anything concrete that would assure me that the person you can see on the screen is the person in that now famous footage of somebody quite apparently calmly and collectively carrying out the assassination despite the gun seeming to jam at one point. So let's see what's happening. Should say as well, some of the original charges, including one of the murder charges, is still being upheld. But like I said, he won't face the death penalty. Judge Margaret Garnett also dismissed federal firearms charges against the 27-year-old that carried the possibility of capital punishment. But he will still face stalking charges, which can bring a maximum life sentence of life in prison, apparently. I wasn't aware of that in the States, apparently. They take stalking pretty seriously. Mangione was arrested days after he allegedly shot Thompson, the health insurance firm CEO, outside a New York City hotel. That was on the 4th of December. His attorney, Karen Agnifilo, I hope I pronounced that correctly, thanked the court for the incredible decision, said they're all very relieved we're prepared and have been prepared to fight this case, and we're looking forward to fighting this case. What do you make of this, people? Do you think he's a scapegoat? He's a possible patsy? Do you think he is the perpetrator? How do you think the trial's going to go? Let us know in the chat. but I'm sure that he'll be relieved. He has, of course, received a lot of support from the public. But yeah, just because he was arrested for it doesn't make it so. He's going to have his day in court, or days. Could be quite a lengthy trial. Just a reminder, Luigi is an Ivy League graduate from a wealthy Maryland family. He's also facing 9 charges. That's in a separate case, including second-degree murder. Investigators say the words deny, defend and depose were written on shell casings found at the scene of Thompson's murder. That's something we brought up before as well, isn't it? That isn't really something that left-wing people do. It's a right-wing sort of trait. You know, they do it the same with the missiles and whatnot, or it certainly is nowadays. Not sure I'll buy that. Not sure that I completely buy that about those phrases. We heard it in other things as well, didn't we? Of course, was it the Charlie Kirk assassination, or or the air quotes failed Trump assassination? With his regenerative ear. Just finally, state prosecutors are seeking to try Mangione as soon as July this year. In a separate incident, a Minnesota man was arrested on Wednesday for allegedly impersonating an FBI agent in an attempt to free Mangione from the Brooklyn jail he's being held in. I hadn't heard about that one. The suspect, Mark Anderson, was carrying a barbecue fork and pizza cutter. Prosecutors say he's now being held at the same facility as Mangione. So an attempted breakout, apparently. I'll keep you up to speed with that one. Hey, it's not buffered for a while. I've probably just jinxed it all now there, but have you noticed? Right, people. We're coming back to business in the UK now.
Socialists. Oh my God.
Yeah, yesterday was the first time that no organisation Take Back Power have held an event in Manchester, which I attended. It was a really good event as well. So I've got a clip of one of Take Back Power's spokes, Fiona. She's going to talk a bit more about the organisation. This took place at the end of the event. Apologies for the background noise, just as people were closing everything down and leaving the room, but she was interviewed by a young journalist from Salford called Elliot. And I've got some exclusive footage of that as well. This is not Elliot's footage. Should just point that out. This is our footage. My left eye. Yeah, and fundamentally, it's about two things. It's about equality where wealth is concerned, proper taxation for billionaires, and equality where democracy is concerned, replacing the current second house, the House of Lords, with a proper Citizens' Assembly, but Fiona does a great job of going into that in more detail here. So again, apologies for a bit of background noise.
Yeah, I'm Fiona Atkinson and I'm with Take Back Power. I'm from Kendal and I'm a grandmother.
Should be all good now. I've got 720. Any advance on 720? Oh, well, let's crack on. I'll just start that clip again.
Yeah, I'm Fiona Atkinson and I'm with Take Back Power. I'm from Kendal and I'm a grandmother.
Here we are. Talk to me, what's your involvement with Take Back Power? How did you get involved?
Well, I got involved because I was with Just Stop Oil. I did a lot with Just Stop Oil, and it became clear that once we'd won our demand, which was to stop all gas and oil licensing in the North Sea, in the process of getting to that demand, we'd exposed how corrupt our politics is and how ordinary people don't actually get a chance to debate the issues that affect them. And what affects most people nowadays is inequality. And what most people, ordinary people, want is a chance to communicate their needs and their demands to politicians. And our elections are every 5 years. That's not good enough. That our democracy is failing. When you consider that we've got 1 in 4 children going to bed hungry every night, if we had a real democracy, that wouldn't be happening, would it?
So, what are the aims and objectives of the organisation?
Well, the aims of the organisation are really quite clear. We want to take back power, and the way that we want to do that is we want to get a House of the People, and we want it to be a legally binding House of the People, where ordinary people will take their demands and turn them into actions in a way that the current system doesn't.
And I'll come on to what that means in a minute, but why now? Why is this important?
Because look at the state of things. We really need to fix Britain. And if we're going to fix Britain, we need the finances to do that. And for the finances to fix Britain, we need the wealthy to start, the super wealthy, to start paying their fair share of tax. If we can get our tax system improved, we'll then have money for public services. And at the moment, the schools are in disarray. We've got crap in our rivers. We've got children, as I said before, going to bed hungry. We've got an NHS on its knees. We've got so many crises that will be solved only when we start taxing the wealthy. And the only way we're going to get a tax for the super wealthy is to have ordinary people at the heart of government making the decisions.
Many see these as genuine concerns, wealth inequality. But talk to me about your tactics, because you've thrown manure all over the Ritz, you've thrown custard at the crown jewels, and now you're planning to essentially go and steal loads of food from shops in London. What's this about?
First of all, we're not stealing food.
Well, you are.
We're going to be liberating food from those people who are actually stealing our money. Did you know that the chief executive of Tesco's earns 430 times more than his lowest paid employee? And that didn't used to happen. That gap between rich and poor is enormous. So all we're doing is taking back what should be ours, which is food. We can't survive without food. I don't know about you, but I kind of need food to live. So what kind of country are we living in where we are the 6th wealthiest nation in the world and we have children going to bed hungry at night? So all we're doing is putting right a terrible, terrible wrong.
So by reducing the profits that these companies are making, they're going to have to make, cost-cutting measures. They're going to have to potentially fire members of their workforce or increase security.
By reducing the profits of the billionaire food industry, who are controlling and lobbying and who have so much resource, they have so much access to our politicians that they are skewing everything. They're making millions out of us. They're making millions by...
Why do you need to steal it? Why not cook your own food? Why not go and volunteer?
Because what we're trying to do is, as I said before, we're putting right and wrong. There are people in need all over this country. There are people who are really ashamed of the fact that even though they're working, they can't feed their kids. And
yeah, there shouldn't be so much food poverty in this country. Again, we talk about this apparently 6th wealthiest nation on the planet, and it can't even feed its own population. It's an absolute outrage.
Going along to food banks, and the food banks are struggling. We can't even... Have you seen those baskets in a supermarket where you put donations to the food bank? Unfortunately, more and more people are finding that their situation is so dire they can't afford to do that, so the food banks are getting less. But I just ask you, who's getting the profit from those baskets of food that we all go, oh, I'll try and put something in there? They're still making profits even when they're giving it to food banks.
Again, many people see these as genuine concerns and wealth inequality is an issue, but how is stealing going to help your campaign? It's going to significantly reduce your popularity, is it not?
Well, we've never been out for popularity, and if you look back on...
Sure, but you need to bring people on side with your campaign.
Well, we need to...
One of the sorry, just to explain a bit what this is all about as well. One of the speakers, I think, was talking about a previous non-violent direct action that had been done by a different organisation that are involved going into supermarkets and just literally taking out food and redistributing it to various other places, which was brought up during the talk. So that's just what the interviewer is referring to. For anybody who doesn't know, should have just pointed that out for context.
A certain number of problem, but if you just think back to the suffragettes, if you think back to the suffragettes, they were not popular, but they won, and they didn't get the vote by voting.
Talk to me about taxing billionaires. Many people, even if you wanted to tax billionaires, you would end up with them leaving. These are people that bring business to the UK.
That's old one. They'll leave. Well, first of all,
we had 16,500 millionaires leave last year.
The stats are really dubious, the source of those stats. I think somebody's counting them when they go away to go to their private homes in the Caribbean.
Here, but this is 16,500
what we're talking
left last year.
In that case, what kind of patriotism is that?
Sorry, just got to skip forward a bit. Interrupted because only had the room for a certain amount of time. Had to quickly wrap things up, but we still do have another bit of the interview. Yeah, I think we can go from here.
Patriotism. So here's their country, the country that they have robbed blind. They've hoarded their wealth. They've failed to invest in this country. They've failed to pay their taxes properly, and then they leave. Good riddance. Let them go. I'll tell you what happened.
Yeah, if they're hoarding wealth and if they're putting people's jobs to ransom, saying that they shouldn't be taxed so much because they'll just up sticks and leave, then are they the kind of people that we really want to welcome into our society and into our economy? I don't think so. I think it's a very toxic thing. And again, they're not elected, but they have so much power and control over workers. They shouldn't essentially do that. It's a disgusting tactic to threaten to do that. And again, hold people's jobs to ransom. We need people who are happy to pay the proper share of tax, and they will still make profit, but they will have to pay the workers more of the profits as well.
Is when people go, you leave behind a vacuum. So what we'll do there is the small businesses will start to move into that vacuum.
Want to invest in the UK anymore because they can't get in tax.
Yeah, because you look at our high streets, everybody hates their high streets at the moment. They're full of big businesses. So let's say goodbye to the big businesses and let's say hello to the small businesses. And let's have the people in this country who don't want to bleed it dry and then leave it, who want to stay and make it succeed.
Aren't you really a bunch of populists? You're basically saying it's us versus the billionaires. That's what it's really about.
And what's wrong with that?
Well, even if it is, by taxing them, you're going to lose their business, which will drive up prices for the consumer.
You look at them, so they're here now, right? And look at the mess we're in.
Talk to me about this idea of a house of the people. What is this?
So the House of the People is, I don't know if you ever heard of a citizens' assembly before, but it's a bit like you get people there, you choose them from the public, and you make sure that you call on people from various backgrounds, various age groups, various professions or jobs. So you represent the whole of Great Britain, and you use a process called sortition, and then when they arrive there, they then have the power, like they had in Ireland. Ireland was failing to sort out abortion. They had a House of the People, a citizens' assembly.
Sorry about the shaky cam, just there were some charts and stuff stuck to the wall behind me. I had to move out of the way, and well, I was helping take them down actually, whilst I was filming this at the same time. Of course, we really were on the minutes when it came to having to leave. In fact, I think we might have to wrap this up here.
They gave the problem.
Yeah. I'll leave that interview there. The camera swings around. Obviously, don't know if other people who appear in the shot then have permission for this to be used, so we'll leave it at that. But I think that was great from Fiona there. What do you think about those points? What do you think about Take Back Power's demands? We do need to take back control of the Bank of England. That's one of the important things that really help with wealth equality. Good point, Graham. So if you want to know more about Take Back Power, of course, just to be very clear, this isn't an official Take Back Power announcement or anything, but you can check out the website, see more what they're about. takebackpower.net is the address. They do have more events coming up across the country, so see if they come into a region near you. Because a reminder, people, we only have until 2029 to keep the fash out. Politics only moves so quick, or so slowly, if you want to be more accurate. That's here in the UK, but hopefully, obviously, we're hoping to see socialist parties do well in the next general election. But that alone might not be enough. We've got to have a concerted effort as well to get more democracy. And legally binding as well, as Fiona pointed out there. And you can certainly ridicule the idea that there is a citizens' house already in the form of the House of Commons, which has been put to people who organise citizens' assemblies, other organisations. That's quite laughable. Of course, we know it's filled up with careerists, people with their own self-interests at heart. Most people don't earn those kind of salaries either. Nothing close. What do they pay themselves now? About 90 grand. No, it really is an insult, so that, along with all of the problems that billionaires themselves create, have got to be undone.
Can you dig it?
So yes, we shall rally our efforts and see what happens. One thing's for certain though, you know. A lot of people are going to have to get off the butts and do something. Those who can definitely should, whether you want to get involved politically with whatever party, whatever organisation you might want to get involved with. It's almost going to be inevitable. Because a reform win in 2029 will be a complete disaster for this country. We all know that. But let's try and raise our spirits a little. I do have another comedy clip lined up. This time another really good one from Claire Blackwood. Do enjoy this. So this will be concerning US politics, of course. Once again, there's a link in the description for the page, which I highly recommend going and subscribing to and checking out some other content. The link for this specific video is also there as well if you want to go and give it some extra views. Great comedian, Claire Blackwood.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Conservative Leadership Review Week. As I'm sure you know, it's been marked in my calendar for months. Tomorrow, members of Mr. Poilievre's party will be voting to decide if he will remain the Conservative leader after losing the federal election and his riding last April. Isn't this exciting? Now, the woke liberal media has been making a very big deal about how Mr. Poilievre has no idea what to do since Justin Trudeau left. And all his work friends keep leaving him for Mark Carney. And his popularity is sinking faster than the Titanic on methamphetamines. And I am here to say that none of that is true. In fact, I have a direct quote from Mr. Poilievre that says, "Everyone in Canada loves me, even the haters and losers." He stole that line from Mr. Trump. And I have big plans for Canada, unlike Mark Carney, who keeps stealing my big plans and saying he planned them himself, but he didn't. And then there's just a picture of him hitting the Prime Minister over the head with a piece of Canadian lumber. So you can see he's not worried. Now, to the members of his party who will be voting for or against him tomorrow, he says that he has full confidence that you'll remember how good he is at slogans and how well he flipped that pancake at the Calgary Stampede last year, and vote to let him keep his job. I mean, he's never really had a real one. It would be mean to just send him out into the big scary world with no real job experience, right? We wouldn't want that. Funny enough, tomorrow is also my birthday. So what a wonderful birthday present it would be if he passes the vote. Just a thought. Any questions? Yes. Will Mr. Poilievre accept the results of the vote and step down without throwing a massive childlike tantrum? Yes. Yes, he will. Oh, I'm so sorry. I have to get this. Yes, sir. Yes, I told them that everyone loves you. Yes, yes, sir. Yes, the National Post thinks you're very, very handsome. Hi, thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you didn't, I look forward to reading about it in the comments.
Yeah, there's a link in the description once again. Good stuff there from Claire Blackwood. Go and check out the link, go and subscribe, and check out some of the other content that shows some solidarity this Socialist Sunday. Also on the topic of solidarity, another big shout out to all the members on the channel. 175 now, towards the target of 250. Thank you very much everybody whose names are on the screen. Hit the join button if you want to know more about the perks. It's just 99 pence, fraction of the price of a tasty hot beverage. Yeah, other ways you can support the channel. There's also a buy me a coffee page in the description of the stream as well. Genuinely appreciate all of your support, whatever method you choose to use. Did manage to sort out the one with the invalid characters there. I don't know if you noticed as well. But thank you very much to everybody. Stick around, people. Almost towards the end of this stream, but we are going to raid into Kevin Logan. Who, with it being a Sunday, like I said earlier, is likely to be on stream with Helen No Justice, so subscribe to both if you can. We're going to raid into Kevin though, and they do a more lengthy analysis of the Laura Kussenberg show as well. Right, that's all queued up. We'll just dive back into the lounge. Thank you to Herbie in the Range, Herbie Ranger and the Supersonics even. I'll be seeing them next week. Just have a second portion of Fondue as we say our goodbyes here. Right, we're all locked in where the raid's concerned. So we'll be heading over to Kevin Logan in just a moment. We'll be back with more live streams, of course, next week ourselves with the brews at 10. Yours truly, your humble host Lefty. So do join me there. Double check you've hit thumbs up on this stream though before we end proceedings. But all that remains for me to say is thanks again for watching. Free Palestine, Sudan, Yemen and Lebanon. Don't let the bastards grind you down. And my left, I'll be seeing you soon. Take care, people. Good night.
Socialists